Good morning, it's Yvonne back to do your bonus read for the weekend. Okay, I'm going to use the Celtic Tarot for your reading. I'll just give them a bit of a shuffle. I've done all the intros on the What's Cracking reading, so if you need any details, information, whatever, all up on the What's Cracking this morning. If you haven't watched the What's Cracking, excuse me with the wet hair and the rather sort of I've just got out of the shower look. I got a little bit behind this morning due to having a good night's sleep. I guess that may be a thing of the future. I feel like I'm starting to get equilibrium now after giving up my main job. It's such a strange feeling being completely self-employed though. Because I've worked all my life in jobs for other people. I've worked since I was 14. And I've had a couple of little breaks there, but even when I had my kids, I only took 6 weeks off work. So I'd take off the last week of the pregnancy and go back as soon as I could. Self-sufficient. I had to be throughout my life. So it's just been, I guess, a journey that I've had to endure. But in saying that, I wouldn't change it for anything. I've learned a lot of lessons along the way. Okay, let's have a look at your bonus read here. Oh, nice. Oh, I got the World card jumping out at me here. So there's a definitely, because that came out in the What's Cracking reading, there's a definite feeling of people closing down cycles at the moment. When you close down a cycle, it really means that you've learned all of the lessons that you need to learn in that time. For example, if you move from a relationship where you're, married or in a committed relationship and you move to being single, that can close down a cycle. Why? Because you're finishing out something that you've learned all the lessons you needed to learn in. If you went back to that person after a period of time, you'd be opening a new cycle. So that's how it works. For others of you, the cycle may be a cycle of learning. It may be because you're understanding patterns that you've had in your life, but maybe it's taken a long time to understand how to dissolve. I like that spirit. How to dissolve those weaknesses, they're saying, or those patterns. So there's a very strong feeling here that some sort of cycle is coming to a close for you. It may be that you've learned how to love yourself or find self-love. It may be that you have walked away from work that no longer serves you. Whatever this is, it's bringing closure to a period of time where lessons had to be learned to move you to the next stage of your life. And that's beautiful. No matter what it is, no matter what has happened, closing out the cycle or closing out a cycle is an amazing thing because you're moving on to a new phase. Okay. So we have the King of Swords coming out, and what a handsome King of Swords he is. Did I say I'm using the Celtic Tarot? He's absolutely, so Lord of the Rings, isn't it? Elfin-like. So the King of Swords can be someone who is a Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius, but the King of Swords as a person is a logical thinker. He's strategic, or she's strategic. Because it's a man in the card, it's talking about the masculine energy of the suit. Now, the masculine energy is one that is about logic, strategy, about doing things that feel that you have to think through, you have to plan. So this person can always be, like, say, a lawyer or even a doctor, where they're in a profession that is quite, I'm trying to think of the word for it, but they have to use their logical mind to do it. They're not feeling like the Cups energy. And this is also about having great clarity about what you want in your life, because this is the King, so it's the top of the suit. So someone here has come to a conclusion about what they want, but they've done it through being logical, not through their heart space. So it could be that you want to change your career and you've started to put a lot of energy into deciding you want to go back to university or you want to change your job. It could be that someone is thinking about closing down some sort of situation here. This person could have clarity and want to make an offer. His communication is very good, but in this particular suit, his sword is down, which always says to me this person is thinking about it, but hasn't got to the point of talking yet. Whoa, that card wanted to drop, didn't it? All right, so we have the Two of Swords. There you go. So this person here, whoever this person is trying to make some sort of decision. Now, in this particular card, the moon isn't full, so we're talking about a decision that's based in perhaps only half the information at this time. So this decision is not a nice decision to make when it's the Two of Swords, because it's between either two equally important things, but it means whoever this person is has to now understand their own logic and strategy to move forward. They need to have the clarity to do that. So this is very often a decision that ends up in some sort of stalemate or a stuckness, because they're not really sure how to make the decision without using their emotion here. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so we have the Nine of Wands coming through. The Nine of Wands is the card of the wounded warrior. This is very, very much about going through cycles. Okay. For some of you, you may be closing out a cycle on something. So say you're closing out a cycle on codependency or addiction. And the Nine of Wands says to me that you're going forward with this worry or fear that you could do this again if you don't have the right learning here. This is why you're coming out with this energy. You need to understand what you've done previously. You need to really understand your lessons in order not to cycle again. But you are worried about doing that. You're worried about getting hurt. You're worried about moving into a new time, because what you want here is stability. What you want is to live your life in a healthy way, not to have to go through something over and over again trying to learn your lesson. If for you this is about relationships here, Five of Pentacles, there's a feeling here that you are feeling a little down, a little depressed, perhaps a little sad about something that's happened in your life that you've had to work through here. And the worry is, can you, walk away and leave it behind? Can you completely leave it behind? And how can you be sure that you're not going to revisit it again? So if it's an addiction, a codependent relationship, some sort of toxicity in your life, your family, within your relationships, you want to know that when you walk away here, that it's not going to keep coming back around. You have to have learned your lessons, and you have to have made the best decision you could have made here. And that might mean cutting people out of your life. It may mean having a clean slate and moving forward. Let's have a look. All right, so we have the Two of Cups. So I feel strongly for you that there may be some sort of romantic attachment that you have here. Now, it could be that you've walked away from a toxic situation to walk towards having a healthy relationship. That's the first thing I'm being sort of guided to. It could also be that you are worried about going into a new relationship because of the things you have done previously. It could also be, how do you walk away from something and continue having some sort of connection to somebody, but without that toxic component. Okay, let's get more of your story. All right, so we have the Knight of Wands coming through here. Some of you perhaps have been cycling people who didn't want to commit. Perhaps you've been cycling people who were not as dedicated or loving and caring as you, so you ended up in a very cold, toxic situation. Whoever the Knight of Wands is, it very often talks about someone who is unable to commit for whatever reason. This isn't a bad thing. It's not about, sometimes people sort of put this edge on, players, users and all that sort of thing. Sometimes this person is often quite damaged themselves. And they're scared often to get into relationships because they may be wearing a mask, which means they have to drop the mask in a relationship. So by sort of flitting around and having short-term relationships with people, nobody really gets to see who they are. That's a tough one. Okay, so we have the Queen of Cups coming through here. For some of you, this may be your mother, Page of Wands. For some of you, you may have walked away from a mother figure. You may be dealing with a mother figure, but you may also be the mother in this situation. The Queen of Cups can talk about Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. So you may be dealing with someone who is unable to access their feelings with the King of Swords. Maybe you're dealing with someone who doesn't know how to access their heart space. Maybe you've been dealing with cold people along the way. People who are unable to really understand, show, or embrace love. So there's a strong feeling here that somebody is coming back around again. Definitely looks like they're coming round again here. Okay, we have the Moon card. You're definitely, some of you definitely dealing with Pisces, Cancer here. Very, very strong Pisces, Cancer energy. This is somebody coming back around who maybe wasn't very good. They could have opened up. They could have opened up to their Queen of Cups here. You could have someone who's gone from the King of Swords to the Queen of Cups energy, meaning they've gone into their heart space now and realised what they've wanted. Perhaps they weren't able to commit before. Nine of Swords coming through. Somebody having sleepless nights over understanding what their destiny is. The Star is about destiny. Someone's opened up their throat chakra here. Have a look at the blue energy. There's someone here who's understood how to use their throat chakra. They're speaking up for themselves, or they've spoken up for themselves. This person here is dressed in blue. Somebody's speaking their truth here. Somebody's standing in their truth. Somebody's understanding what they need to do. I feel like you've been dealing with someone, or you've been cycling with someone who up until now has not been able to express their feelings, and they've had an awakening. Let's keep going. All right, so I have the Hanged Man. See, there's an awakening in full there. All right, and we have the Four of Swords coming through. This person's had to really work with that energy. Eight of Wands, but they are communicating here. Someone's really dug deep. If you're dealing with someone who you've dealt with in the past that was unable to show you love, this person has absolutely been able to access their heart space here. They've gone through really strong healing here. They've had some sort of major awakening because the Moon is here, which means that they have gone deep inside and accessed their emotions. This could be somebody who's had, you know, perhaps a lot of, with the Knight of Wands, the non-commitment stuff could be, you know, having a lot of childhood wounds that has held them back in the past. And they've been able to work with that. Someone's done the work. I always think when you say that, it's really hard to understand until you realise how much work you've done on yourself. And if you've done this work on yourself, you understand how difficult it is to go through the dark night of the soul, release childhood trauma, work with your, you know, CPTSD, whatever you've had to work through to get to where you are to feel comfortably happy. And a lot of people turn around and say, but I don't want somebody back from my past. And I think, well, that's okay. But what I'm telling you here is that somebody else has done the work they needed to do. So if you were expecting someone thinking, well, if they don't do the work, then I can't have them back, or you're in a twin flame situation where you are waiting for the other person to do this work, I can tell you here, somebody has done the work. They have dug really deep here. They have actually brought themselves to the point of almost collapse. They have dug very, very deeply. I don't know if this is this person's choice with the Moon here. I would say a rough guess. The universe has had a little bit of a helping hand here. So whoever this person was may have needed a little nudge from the universe to understand what their journey was about, to understand their destiny. And maybe they couldn't see that before. You know, you may have been waiting around for a while for somebody to do the work. Think about how long it's taken you if you've been doing it. And if you haven't been doing the work, then one day you will get pushed into doing it if you haven't been already. If you're one of the lucky ones that didn't have traumatic upbringing, issues in childhood, and has been cycling in relationships, you may not understand what I'm saying here. But for all of you who've been through that situation, you have somebody moving towards you who's done the work. Now, This doesn't necessarily have to be someone from your past. This could be very likely someone brand new here, but they've done the work, big time. This person has taken themselves to the depths here to get to where they needed to get to. Someone who's coming up as a King of Swords, but I really feel quite strongly they've made some sort of decision here to move forward in their life by stopping these cycles. So this person's probably been through cycles as well, but maybe not the same as yours. Someone who wants the stability here, someone who wants to let go of this sadness that sits within their soul because they haven't experienced true love here. Someone who's walked away from what doesn't serve them and left behind something here in their past that no longer resonates with them. And that could be the cycles they've been going through. So this very likely could be someone brand new. Okay. All right, well, we'll go with that one then, shall we? All right. Allow your imagination to drift beyond the horizon. Beyond time, there is a world of dreams without limits, full of magical ideas, a world just waiting for you. But this faraway world is not so far. It's inside your heart, and all it takes to get there is a dream. Very nice. Have a wonderful weekend.